how to leave a mark now when you perform drafting work. Okay, what are the things to keep in mind? One, don't hurry. Speed is usually not the most important requirement. You will have this temptation, coming first in class, all this topping and all becomes overhyped sometimes, and we think that if we do the fastest, we are the smartest. But that's not the case. If you do it the best, the most, if you do it correctly, that is what seniors want. And usually they give interns work which is not on a deadline. Diligence, list making work, they want to progress fast, but otherwise a lot of proofreading is not on a killer deadline. So you will tend to do things a lot faster than is actually needed, and you may compromise on quality. Don't do that. Don't want You should not want to be the first person out there. You should want to do things correctly. Okay, and you can look at it in the market also. By the way, Apple is a very successful company, but they were not the first for a lot of things. They were always, like, even for things like iPad and all, tablets were around for a long time in the market, but when Apple made it, they were successful. Phones were around from a long time, mobile phones, right? So they were not the first. Even MP3 players were there for a long time. They were not the first in that. So remember that you do it the best way. That's what's going to count. Four important aspects that you should know are important for proofreading: definitions, clauses, punctuations, formatting, and cross referencing. So, for formatting, what happens? You need to spot, okay? You have to have a sharp eye for spotting gaps and spaces, gaps and indents. Indent means the space from the margin. And then you should also know how to use Microsoft Word properly. Cross referencing, you must always check. This is a deal breaker. Clients will take an adverse judgment on the firm if cross referencing is incorrect. You should look that the cross referencing to the different paragraphs is correctly done. Okay, and one thing you should start learning directly is formatting on MS Word. Track which are the functions. I have listed some functions here. There are more detailed functions in our contract drafting course listed down, but I'll just tell you: track changes, you must always know. Bullets, sub bullets, different kinds of numbering, indents, format painter. Format painter is a thing that I learned only in the law firm. I did not know it before. It's really cool. It copies all the formatting from one document, one paragraph into another paragraph. Insertion of a table of contents, page numbers, breaking sections. This you would know from your moot court memorials if you've done. If not, learn it separately. Take a course on Microsoft Word, or just Google Microsoft Word for this function. Microsoft has made very good support documents. Then updating page numbers in a table of contents, internal hyperlinking of the document at least. Yeah, like if you have to cross-reference different clauses, then you should be able to do that. Mail merge, find, replace. Yes, you should know these. Have enough practice of drafting and reading. This is where people fall short. You don't have enough practice of drafting and reading earlier drafts. So what will happen is you can't anticipate new situations. What will get you brownie points? One is doing good proofreading, but that's not enough for getting a callback. That's not enough for getting a assessment internship. Why? Because if you've been watching some of my earlier webinars, I always say, if you want a PPO, the law firm must feel that they have an associate with them, and if you go away after you graduate, then they are losing out. Okay, so that means that to be a free associate, you have to perform one level up, not the current level. So proofreading is what? Current level. When you start adding in value, like a trained associate does, that is one level up, and that makes them think that I want to hire this person as an intern. Okay, go prepared with knowledge of commercial intent across a wide range of industry sectors, because you will want to add value. You don't want to not understand like reps and warranties. You don't want to not understand statutory compliance aspects. What happens when you first learn corporate law and then you look at the contract is, in the conditions precedent, you will try to write every statutory condition to be met. And only after some time you'll realize, after two or three drafts, that this must not be written like this. What if a new statute comes into picture? So I must only say two things: that all necessary statutory compliances are done with, a representation for that, and indemnity for any breaches, and a covenant or a promise in future that they will continue to comply with all applicable legal requirements. And that way you will address all the aspects of the issue. Okay, seniors will appreciate if you can comment and add value on how the representations and warranties, covenants, or indemnities clauses can be improved. If you have learned things well, you can also identify gaps in payments clauses, some mechanics. You may identify that this deal needs a anti-cloning provision, or a prohibition on reverse engineering, or a non-circumvention clause. There are various agreements which have these clauses. Basically, they say that what you can't achieve through this contract, don't do any backdoor work also to achieve this outcome. Okay, so you want those things to be pointed out. A lot of times you want to point out when people are separating their business that one person, or when two people are starting business together, that one person will not transfer the business to another entity or start a new entity which does the same work. A lot of things are there, okay, and people tend to miss those things. If you add value there on the substantive clauses, seniors will be delighted. At least learn how to draft like NDAs, rent agreements, share purchase agreements, employment contracts, LLP agreements, articles of association of a company, services agreements. There are a few more agreements, but these are like bare minimum that you should learn before your next internship, literally. Okay. Rent agreements means rent agreement, leave and license, residential lease, commercial lease, all of that. Express your intention to your senior that you want to help them out with drafting work from the very beginning. Take feedback from them every week at the internship. See, when you say it on day one, you will not get it on day one or day two. Follow up on the third day. Sir, do you have any drafting work? Ma'am, do you have any drafting work? I've done the earlier work you gave me. And you can ask, ma'am, can I also have drafting work in addition to what you gave me? Take feedback from your senior every week at the internship and plan the feedback. So you help them plan it. You say that when will you be free? I'll come at this time for feedback. Okay. Request them. Okay, this is very important. Request them to share client emails with you. They'll not share it on your personal ID. So firms have a way to give you intern IDs so that all the data stays within the system. But request them to share any client emails or access to knowledge management folders so that you can go through their regulatory updates. Also, you can see the client mail. Client mail is very important to understand what the client wants. While the senior may have briefed you, it is very good if you know exactly from the client's words and language. You will perceive a lot of things that the senior may not have briefed you about, and you will perceive a lot of that from the client email. Okay, so do that. Also, take permission from your senior to record the briefing that he or she is giving you on your phone. Earlier, we used to not do all of this because phones were not so advanced. Android became way more popular in around 2010-11. iPhone also wasn't popular then, and it was also unaffordable. But now all these devices are way more affordable, so you can try to record your senior's briefing with permission. Okay. Keep learning on the side during your internship. One of the biggest mistakes we make is that we say that we have exams, so no work on internships right now. We have internships, no work on learning right now. Okay, like life comes to a grinding halt when you have exams or internship. That cannot happen. If you work as an associate, you will not have your life coming to a halt ever. Okay, you will have lots of transactions, you will have personal life to take care of, you may be dating, maybe married, you may have things to attend to, family, travel, vacation, all of that. So make sure that you have the brain bandwidth and the mindset to take on more things. Especially keep learning on the side. So what used to happen for me was that I used to always struggle with I used to wish that my seniors sat me down and taught me stuff despite my doing the work. And sometimes I used to make a list of doubts also, but that didn't properly happen because I wanted more interaction. So I wanted a source of learning. This didn't happen while either at internship or while working in the firm as an associate. Why? Because that is unrealistic to expect. My expectation was unrealistic. Okay. Also, why should you keep learning on the side? Because this will make you perform better on your live assignments. You shouldn't waste your time focusing on the wrong things. There's a risk that if you don't have your learning in place, you will focus on the wrong tasks. And I wanted a resource that I could use, a learning resource that I could use even while I was an intern or an associate. I wish that partners and senior associates would teach me things. Okay, so I decided to research on my own, but it has a cost. Okay, I used to veer off into wrong directions. Like a lot of times I'm looking at tax issues when that is not even the client's briefing. Somebody I recommended for an in-house counsel's position, he successfully secured it, but used to veer off into IP issues in every contract, even when his senior did not consider it a priority. Why? Because IP is his area of passion. Okay, so this will happen. You will lose time on the wrong issues. So it's important for you to know what the client wants. If you work in-house, still you need to know that. Why? Because you have a client. Your client is your company. Okay, if you don't know what kind of output is needed, you will get distracted and waste time. Okay, even if you discovered something really insightful, how does it matter? Client doesn't want it. Okay, like I found so many arbitration clauses in investment agreements, which, if the dispute arose, would be pathological. Like pathological clause is a term that the arbitration theorists have put in place to say that these clauses are going to be unworkable if a dispute arises and it's going to lead to ambiguity. Okay, now, but the issues that the investor wanted to know of was not that, right? Because I don't have an opportunity to amend and redraft the clause. When I'm drafting a fresh contract, I can do that. But in a dispute scenario, I have to work on the situation that is given to me, and there the contract is already frozen. So client outcomes are very important to take care of.